Welcome to the STRYI channel, the first Ukrainian manufacturer of professional wood carving tools. Today, we're going to review this wonderful set in a plywood box for carving spoons, which includes 5 items. In today's video, we'll talk about it in more detail, what's included in the set, the tool sizes, what they're made of, and how to care for them at home. So we have 500 chisels and a wooden blank specifically for carving a spoon. The wood material we have is linden. The blank measures 25.5 centimeters with a thickness of 4 centimeters. The linden wood is properly dry, so it'll be easy for you to work with it right away, whether you're a beginner or someone with experience. We have 5 chisels. The chisels, as you can see, are from the STRYI brand, our own brand, named after our city, which is where, as they say, the production of our tools began. And making these tools, we use U8 tool steel. This is a carbon steel that has proven to be the best for making woodworking tools. It holds its edge and cutting line extremely well, with proper heat treatment, that is, with proper hardening. So the manufacturing process of the tool is very precise, and the quality you choose is extremely important. By the way, this tool is from our Pro series, meaning it's designed for professionals. I'll explain why a bit later. This is a professional grade tool series. This set, as you can see, is very nicely packaged in a plywood box. It's often chosen as a gift as well. And in general, even when people buy it for themselves, this one, it's very popular here, not just in Ukraine. People often love to carve spoons. That's in the United States, in Europe, and in Australia. Overall, it's a really interesting little hobby, let's say, if we're just talking about spoons, and it's popular in many countries. People actually believe that the easiest way to start wood carving is to carve a spoon by hand. Well, as they say, you could talk about this for a long time and at length, but today we're reviewing this particular set, and that's what we'll be talking about. Subscribe to our channel. We have lots of interesting information, everything related to wood carving. And now let's talk in more detail about the sizes of the tools included in this set. So here we have 1 knife, a spoon carving knife, and 3 bent gouges. Let's start with the knife. The knife we have is a detail knife, as it's called. The blade length is 58 millimeters. The blade width is 12 millimeters, and the thickness of the metal it's made from is 3 millimeters. The edge is sharpened without a bevel, which, thanks to the thickness of the metal, allows you to use this knife on both hard and soft types of wood, just like the whole set in general. So you don't have to worry if, for example, your blank is made of linden, but you want to carve a spoon or some other dish or kuksa, for example, out of walnut or oak or some other kind of hard wood material. So the knife. Next, we have the spoon carving knife, also 3 millimeters thick, sharpened for the right hand. That is, for right-handed people. Upon your request, we can swap the spoon carving knife in the set specifically for the left hand if you are left-handed. For example, the diameter of this one is 3 centimeters. You'll use the spoon carving knife not only for carving spoons, but it will also come in handy for carving, as I mentioned, kuksa cups or other types of wooden dishes. Basically, anything that has a deeper hollow. Next, we move on to the gouge. The next one we have is 20 millimeters. It has a tapered tang, which gives this gouge more maneuverability, especially when carving a spoon. And not just spoons, also for deeper vessels. I'll show you more details a bit later. It gives you maneuverability, meaning you can get to each of the walls without restricting movement, unlike, for example, a gouge with a full metal blade. This gouge has a full semicircle. The metal thickness is 2 millimeters, and the sharpening, I remind you, is suitable for both soft and hard types of wood. As for the profile, ninth profile, 20 millimeters. The next gouge we have here is a shallow one. Also very useful. It will be helpful for you in relief carving as well. This will be the profile, 15 millimeters. And the third gouge that comes in the set is more semicircular, has a full semicircle and a cutting edge width of 10 millimeters. Ninth profile, 10 millimeters. It will also be useful not only for carving spoons, but also for artistic and relief work. Overall, the composition of this set is not very narrowly focused, meaning it's not just for spoons. Not at all, absolutely not. It's a pretty useful tool that you can absolutely start with and continue to use in your future techniques. Carving design, whether it's for relief or artistic decoration. It'll also be useful for sculptural decoration. So this tool definitely won't just be lying around unused. Let's try it out together and see how they cut wood. We have a piece of linden wood ready. These are already cut into strips made from linden. So there's already a groove, which makes it easier for you, for example, to show it here now. Let's probably start by going over it with a knife to see how our knife works. How do you use it? Remember, for safety, we always work with the knife away from ourselves. So it's used to remove excess wood. To shape, for example, the handle of the spoon itself. See, out of habit, you almost wanted to turn it and cut toward yourself. I've seen in practice that some carvers, as they say, carefully shave a bit toward themselves like this. I think that's something you should only do once you have experience. I wouldn't recommend doing it that way because, after all, safety is our top priority. We must never forget about it. So we've got the knife part down. We remove the excess wood and shape the handle that we plan to carve for the spoon, meaning the handle can be, by the way, you see, we already have some finished ones here from our own blanks. Someone even made one like this. The handles are finished and each one is completely different. It's all up to your taste and preference. We'll get to decorating the handle later. So that's the function of the knife. Like I said, it won't just sit around unused. In Rizdveni, it's used very, very often. Next, let's move on. We have a klukars. This is our fifth profile, 15 millimeters. Remember that. Let's put the spoons aside and take our blanks. Remember, never work toward your hand. That's a safety rule. You can also secure the spoon blank with a clamp. Maybe that will be more convenient for you, and from a safety standpoint, it would be the right thing to do. Some people use a carving technique where they actually rotate the blank in the direction of the cut. It's more convenient that way. And of course, it also depends on the size of the blank you're working with. So to achieve this kind of hollow, we'll start by using a shallow gouge. You see, our blank was flat to begin with. This is so we can move on to deeper shaping for more detailed work. Now let's move on to our next tool in the set. Our 30mm spoon gouge for the right hand. Yes, with the spoon gouge. Now we can work more in the hollows. At this point, it's almost done. By the way, I also have something here. Let's see if the spoon gouge can handle this kind of hollow. As you can see, it works great, meaning it's not meant just strictly for spoons. You can do more with it. You can carve deeper vessels, for example, like this one here. We also made this with the help of the spoon gouge. Next, my favorites actually are the hook knives. We can start with the 20mm semicircular one. Let's do it right here on the surface. I really like the amount of wood you can remove with it. See, when I talked about maneuverability, how convenient it is to maneuver with this particular hook knife, because here the metal's flat surface doesn't get in the way. I really like it when these hook knives take off just this amount of shavings. And of course, the sound is incredibly pleasant. It really is. Still, this is for a spoon, so let's move on to the spoon. Cool, right? It's pure pleasure to work, carve, and learn when you have a high-quality professional tool in your hands. What makes it professional? Besides the fact that, as they say, it's sharpened for both soft and hard types of work, it's properly sharpened. As you can see, there's no sharp bevel, edge, or transition, which allows your tool, your hook knives, and all your tools to work smoothly, to smoothly enter the wood and continue the cut. If there was a very sharp edge or transition, you would just sink into the wood by the size of that cutting edge, and the tool itself would push back against you. It would be uncomfortable for you to carve. So the cut is easy. Next, what's important is that here the metal is fully ground and polished on both sides. So you'll be able to take care of this tool at home with minimal effort. Now, I'll also show you exactly how you can do this at home. All right, we've basically shown this key card. And now we're loading a last gouge into the set. Half round, size 10, 10mm. Look at these shavings. Aren't they beautiful? And the sound is wonderful. Besides the spoon, let's take a slightly deeper one. And in places like this, when you haven't collected a lot of shavings, you can, of course, just clean it with the same gouge you're working with. However, this shallow gouge we showed you will also come in handy and be useful, as we demonstrated. To clean everything up here completely, after you've already cut the shavings, as you can see, our 10mm half round gouge handles it just fine. Perfect. Beautiful shavings, like little curls. A beautiful melodic sound of wood. Let's try it on a slightly shallower cut. You can clearly hear how it creaks like snow under your feet in 20-degree frost. It's a pleasure. Honestly, it's very relaxing. When the tool works easily, you don't worry about it breaking or getting dull or how to set it up or how to sharpen it yourself. You just enjoy it. What are you doing? What you're doing right now in this moment is your own creation. For me, this is art. Because everyone started from something. Or just, as they say, to take your mind off things a little. Our blank is a test piece, you see. It was cut from both sides. We've already made cuts right up to the hole. So basically, we've shown how the tool that comes in our set works and behaves. To make it even clearer, let me show you right away, straight from the set. Yes, this was right here. A little gouge and a shallow gouge. As for this set, we also recommend getting some spoon blanks to go with it, of course. Blanks, we always have them in stock. Extra ones like these, so you have some on hand to practice with. Believe me, once you make one spoon, you won't want to stop there. You'll want to make more and more, to paint them, to stain them in different colors. And in a way, to have something carved, as they say, a piece of your craft with you. We also have this kind of spoon, even a mini one. You can use a small block of wood, cut it into several pieces, and carve yourself these mini spoons to practice. For these kinds of spoons, besides this set, we actually recommend our spoon carving tools, which are of a smaller diameter. Here we have a 25mm one. As you can see, it already has this tail, it's sharper. It also comes in both left-handed and right-handed versions. For such small spoons, we also have a mini spoon carving tool, also available with left and right doubles. Let me show you a bit how the small one cuts. It cuts nicely too. It's really, really small, but do you hear how well it works? That's why this basic set is great as a gift, the one I showed you. Of course, it's great for yourself too. I'll say it again, not a single tool here will just sit unused. But for your hobby, if you really enjoy, for example, carving spoons, you can also get yourself some additional tools. You might want a small spoon gouge. Or, by the way, you might want a longer one like this, see, where you can carve deeper, for example, in bowls. We tried making a bowl like this. You could even call it a mini vase. See, the length of the spoon gouge lets you work at this depth. A regular hook knife wouldn't really do the job here, by the way. And this spoon gouge would be too short. It'd be uncomfortable to use. There you go. We also have spoon gouges like this, for example, that are double-sided. Actually, we call them triple beveled because they have a right, a left, and there's also a bevel here. So you can use it like a hook knife and also on the left and right sides. But you won't be able to apply a lot of force with your hand using it. Why? Because as you saw when we worked with the 30mm tool from this set, we brace it with our finger, right? And with the combined effort of the hand, we remove the wood. Here, we can't allow ourselves to do that because the tool is sharpened to the max. Accordingly, all the force will go straight to our wrist where we're holding the tool. although this spoon gouge is actually our most popular one, especially abroad. The depth of the cuts can vary. Some people make a little stand for their jewelry like this. All these tools won't just sit around unused, as they say. Next, if in the future we want to carve a mug, a bowl, or a small kuksa, we also have linden blanks sized 10 by 10. They're made from dried linden, and we also have larger ones for bigger projects. These are 20 by 10. These are the kind of blocks we have. If you want, you can cut them up yourself, or you can carve something right from a block like this. It's extremely hard to find linden in this size around here, so I recommend reaching out to us if you need something like this, of this kind. We'll help you find everything for your hobby. Like they say, we'll make your dreams come true. It's no joke. Let's briefly talk about how to take care of your tools. At home, we recommend keeping things simple, inexpensive, and always within reach, because not everyone carves. It doesn't matter if it's a spoon or any other item, for example, in the workshop. Most often, people just sit down in the kitchen, in their room, or somewhere outside, like at a campsite, and enjoy their hobby. We recommend using these profiled sharpening stones for home sharpening. People usually call them montishkas. Here they are already in use. I'm showing you. And I'll show you now. When they're still new, as they say, they look like this. There are sizes of 20 centimeters, 30 centimeters, and a full-size 40 centimeters. Why is it called a profiled sharpening stone? I'll explain using the smaller one. Because it's a wooden frame with the corresponding profiles for a straight chisel or a knife to hone or sharpen it. For an angled one, a small semicircle and a large semicircle. In a way, let's show, for example, even on a spoon carving knife. If we need to sharpen it, we place it into the groove. First, of course, like here, we take it to this condition, the profiled sharpening stone, and rub it with polishing paste. Most often, we use GOI paste. Rub it in. You see, here we also often finish the tool so much that the profiled sharpening stone actually shines from the tool. So we've applied the polishing paste, placed the spoon carving knife in, and accordingly, we've honed it. Next, the spoon carving knife also needs to be honed from the inside. So right here, we have a spot specifically for honing the spoon knife or gouges, right on this side. There isn't a corner chisel in the set right now, but using the same principle, we would place the corner chisel here. Now I'll show you something. So as you can see, a profiled sharpening stone like this one will be universal for you. Why is it universal? Because you'll be able to use it with absolutely any kind and type of tool you might have. Whether it's this set or you later buy more and expand your collection to the max, you'll still use it. It's not going to just sit around unused. For example, I took a corner chisel for comparison. We placed it here, turned it around. If we have a 90-degree angle, we place it here. And we sharpen it the same way. If the cutting edge gets damaged somehow, most often this happens because the tool, for example, falls on the floor, on tile, on concrete, and so on. It's rare, but it does happen. So first, we need to place it here. Sandpaper with a grit of 100,000 is preferable. And do the same actions. Run it along the sandpaper, turn it, run it again. Lay the sandpaper down, run it, then remove the sandpaper, and accordingly, the same actions on the profile bar together with GOI paste. As for the half-round one, I said I'd show you. We turn it and do the same thing on the outside. And the clicker raza, by the way, the half-round ones too, we can also touch them up here. Of course, the radius of movement won't be as large, but you'll absolutely be able to handle this at home. There's also a small half-round one here too, right? You can also touch it up here. Next, Move it to one side and then the other, and it will be sharpened as though. Sharpened, actually, that's the right word, sorry. Regarding the sizes of the profile sharpening stones, as you can see, they come in different sizes. Here's a 30, and they come in 20, 30, and 40. You can order them on our website or by phone. The website is STRYI.ua. As they say, you get this and basically use it until the end of the tool's life. You keep this sharpening stone with you. We have people who have been using these stones already for 25 years. The size 20 is often convenient to take with you in a bag, on hikes, on the road, if, as they say, you don't want your set to take up much storage space. A convenient size is often used for children, so something like a travel-sized one is worth considering. However, if we're talking about regular use and actually practicing in the workshop, we're talking about a full-sized mounting stone, a specialized stone. Why? Because it allows you, specifically for sharpening and honing your tool, to make a big sweeping motion. So instead of making several small movements to finish the tool, a few of these broad sweeping motions and your tool is good to go. By the way, when it comes to honing your tool, if you're working with linden or other softwoods, you might only need to hone it once a day or even once every 2 days. If you're working with harder woods, it's a bit tougher. We keep the tool as sharp as possible for as long as possible. In general, we state that when working with softwood, it can operate for up to 24 hours without needing to be rehoned. So, of course, it all depends on how you use it, the type of wood you're working with, and your skills. All of these factors matter and have an impact. We've already discussed the mounting tools. Also, by the way, you can maintain this tool at home using simpler strop and mocks. It can be single-sided. A wooden base, leather, again, you rub it with polishing paste. There are notches where you can attach it directly to a workbench if needed. There's also a double-sided block with the same principle. As you can see, it also has a semicircular groove for half-round chisels. It's also worth considering. But if we're talking about choosing the best choice for the future, and really for beginners, what we recommend getting, we always go for profile sharpening stones because they're multifunctional. You'll be able to hone and sharpen many types of tools at home with these without any worries at all. Besides that, today I showed, in addition to this set, many more types of spoon carving knives that we have. You can find more details on the website STRYI.uf. However, people often ask, what if I don't need all these tools? Or I already have some of these chisels at home, or I don't want 5 pieces in a set. Maybe I need 6 or just 3, for example. That's not a problem at all. We can change the set for you and put together a kit with more or fewer tools according to your wishes. Or, as usual, you can buy tools individually on our website. How do we suggest putting together a set for you? Of course, it won't come in this kind of box anymore because, as you can see, this set has a slot for each tool. We offer you this roll-up case. It's made of canvas, and we sew them for different quantities of tools. In this case, for example, for comparison, I'm also showing one for 5 chisels. Let's take a look. If you want to swap something in the set or put together your own personalized set, we're happy to do that for you. For example, you can put in the specific number of tools you need, 2, 3, 5, 10, 12, 20. And in this kind of roll-up case, you can store them, and honestly, it's more convenient. You can take it with you if you travel a lot, like going on hikes or just need to transport your tools. Instead of carrying a whole box with you, you can just take the tools you need. Yes, it's beautiful, but again, it's bulky and a bit inconvenient. That's why we always recommend a box is good, but you should also consider a roll-up case. This will also let you switch out your tools more often. Today, you're carving a spoon perfectly, and you got this roll-up case just for it. Then, as they say, once you move on from spoons to your next project, you can pack a different set of tools in here, the ones you use most often, especially if you're traveling and want to take them with you. So if you want a set with different types of tools, we'll be happy to put one together for you based on your preferences. So, for example, let me show you these kinds of grooves. We made a beautiful little leaf here, and we still need to remove some extra wood from it. And it'll look more or less like this. We'll also make a little stand like this one. You can use it for jewelry or for something else. So what else did I want to tell you? In general, I want to recommend that you pay attention to the quality of the tools, especially when you're a beginner and just starting out with carving. Why? Because of course there are a lot of different types of tools available on the market. Some people present themselves as manufacturers, but in reality, all their tools are actually bought from China. Most of the time, everywhere you look,